It is easy to forget just how significant Dana Andrews once was in Hollywood's golden era. With his rugged charm and quiet intensity, he became a natural fit for film noir, post-war dramas, and sophisticated romances. His presence on screen was measured, masculine, and layered with a kind of internal conflict that felt startlingly modern. In classics such as Laura, The Best Years of Our Lives, and A Walk in the Sun, Andrews did more than star. He helped shape an era. Yet behind his cinematic triumphs lay a troubled reality, an unrelenting battle with alcoholism, a shifting industry that both elevated and discarded him, and a devastating decline of mind that erased his final years. Dana Andrews was born Carver Dana Andrews on January 1, 1909, in Covington County, Mississippi. His father was a Baptist minister, his mother a homemaker raising a large family that included Steve Forrest, who would also become an actor. Rooted in church values and small-town traditions, Dana grew up disciplined yet restless. Beneath his reserved exterior stirred a creative spark he struggled to reconcile with his conservative upbringing. As a teenager, he nurtured a passion for music and performance, though he rarely admitted it to his strict father. He studied business administration in college and worked in the Texas oil fields, but the lure of performance never left him. Legend claims he even hopped a freight train part of the way to California, chasing dreams of singing in clubs and, if fortune allowed, appearing in films. By the mid-1930s, Andrews arrived in California. The Great Depression lingered, and Hollywood overflowed with hopeful dreamers. He scraped by with odd jobs pumping gas, waiting tables, working night shifts, while studying voice and acting at the Pasadena Playhouse. The Playhouse was a training ground for serious actors, and Andrews distinguished himself through sheer determination. Friends remembered him as intense and disciplined, with a burning desire to improve. His big break came when producer Samuel Goldwyn heard him sing and saw potential. Accounts differ. Some say it was a formal audition, others a casual performance at a party. But in 1940, Goldwyn signed him. Studio contracts offered security but demanded absolute control. Roles, image, and public life all shaped by executives. Andrews started with small parts, including an uncredited role in the westerner 1940. Then came his defining breakthrough, Laura 1944, directed by Otto Preminger. Cast as Detective Mark McPherson investigating the mysterious Laura, Andrews radiated quiet magnetism. His stillness conveyed more than dialogue ever could. The film became an unexpected hit, achieving instant classic status. Audiences were captivated by his restrained yet emotionally charged performance, and Andrews emerged as a fresh kind of leading man, not brash or flamboyant, but thoughtful and vulnerable. His stature grew with The Best Years of Our Lives, 1946. Directed by William Wyler, it captured the anxieties of returning World War II veterans. Andrews played Fred Derry, an Air Force captain struggling with joblessness and disillusionment. His portrayal resonated deeply with audiences who wept for Derry's heartbreak and admired his quiet strength. Andrews had given voice to an entire generation of men haunted by war. Yet success carried a heavy cost. Behind the scenes, Andrews increasingly relied on alcohol. Initially, drinking served as social lubrication, easing his natural shyness at parties and studio events. But soon it became a coping mechanism for relentless pressures. By the 1950s, as Hollywood changed, television rising, new stars like Marlon Brando reshaping acting, and Technicolor spectacles overshadowing noir, Andrews found himself adrift. His dependable roles dwindled, and alcohol filled the void. Those who worked with him recalled moments of brilliance punctuated by troubling lapses. On Curse of the Demon, 1957, crew members remembered him retreating to his trailer to sip from a flask, eyes vacant and hands trembling. In private correspondence, Andrews confessed, "Some nights I wish I could drink myself into a dreamless sleep and wake up as the man I once was." It revealed the depth of his despair. Tragedy had touched his personal life early. He married Janet Murray in 1932, and they had a son, David, before her death from pneumonia in 1935. In 1939, he married actress Mary Todd, with whom he raised 3 children. Mary was a stabilizing presence, but she often urged him to confront his dependence. He entered rehabilitation clinics, experienced short periods of sobriety, and even became an early public advocate for Alcoholics Anonymous. At a time when Hollywood suppressed any hint of weakness, his honesty was bold, even radical. Still, relapses plagued him, and the offers grew fewer. He transitioned to smaller films, television, and stage roles. His most prominent professional resurgence came when he served as president of the Screen Actors Guild from 1963 to 1965, advocating for fair pay and better working conditions. Yet off-stage, the loneliness of fading stardom weighed heavily. Stories from this period reveal glimpses of his former brilliance. During a television shoot in the 1960s, a storm delayed production. Nervous, Andrews paced the set until a young assistant calmed him with coffee and conversation. When filming resumed, he delivered a performance so powerful it was considered the highlight of the episode, a fleeting reminder of the star he once was. By the 1970s, his career slowed further. Colleagues noticed not just the effects of alcohol but signs of mental decline. At first attributed to drinking, the truth emerged in the early 1980s when Andrews was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. In an era when the illness was little understood, the news was devastating. The disease gradually stripped away his memory. For an actor whose craft relied on mental discipline, this was a cruel fate. Family recalled moments when he stared blankly at television broadcasts of his own films, unable to recognize his younger self. Occasionally, a flicker of recognition surfaced, but more often confusion clouded his gaze. Caretakers remembered rare flashes of his gentleness. Once, he sang a hymn from childhood, momentarily piercing the fog before asking if the radio had been turned on. By the late 1980s, Andrews lived mostly in care facilities. Mary endured the heartbreak of watching her husband's presence remain while his mind slipped further away. On December 17, 1992, Dana Andrews died in Los Alamitos, California, from pneumonia and heart failure at the age of 83, surrounded by family. The public reaction was subdued. Decades had passed since his heyday, and his death was not front-page news. But those who remembered him in the industry mourned a man who had quietly pioneered a more human image of stardom. He had admitted his struggles, advocated for recovery, and given performances that continue to influence generations. Andrews's style, restrained, thoughtful, emotionally complex, set the stage for the brooding protagonists of later noir and post-war films. He showed that the most powerful drama often unfolds not in grand gestures, but in subtle glances and unspoken regrets. His career also illustrated the contradictions of Hollywood. Glamorous premieres masking personal tragedies, studios demanding flawless heroes while suppressing the truth of their vulnerabilities. Unlike modern tabloid scandals, Andrews's story was one of quieter heartbreaks, missed lines, disoriented moments, private confessions. His openness about addiction broke Hollywood's code of silence, exposing the costs of maintaining illusions. Though later overshadowed by flashier stars, his filmography remains among the finest of his era. Dana Andrews's journey, from a preacher's son in Mississippi to a Hollywood icon, from respected leading man to a patient lost to Alzheimer's, embodied both triumph and tragedy. Bitter in what he lost, health, opportunities, and self-awareness, yet sweet in the memory of his talent and humanity, his life stands as a reminder of fame's fragility and the resilience of the human spirit. He did not leave a neatly packaged Hollywood ending, but something deeper, the truth of stumbling, fighting, and standing again on silent battlefields. In that sense, Dana Andrews delivered his greatest performance, one that still speaks to anyone who has struggled in silence and found the courage to endure. And that concludes today's story. If you found it meaningful, please like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.